The Mummy. When you've got as much clout as Tom Cruise, you can make all sorts of stipulations when you sign on for a movie. Reportedly, Cruise's demands for the 2017 Mummy movie included near total creative control. As later outlined in a Variety investigation, Cruise was accused of micromanaging almost every aspect of the film's production, changing everything from the script to the way it was marketed. Perhaps most notably, Cruise allegedly insisted that his character, Nick Morton, be given more screen time than the Mummy. His presence was beefed up accordingly, effectively turning the horror franchise reboot into another of the star's blockbuster action vehicles. Snakes on a plane. Just like snakes have all sorts of reasons for getting on planes, stars have all sorts of reasons for agreeing to take on a role. Samuel L. Jackson, for example, admitted that he only wanted to star in Snakes on a Plane because of its title. When executives considered changing the title to Pacific Flight 121, he personally intervened, telling them it was the stupidest damn thing I ever heard. Jackson also advocated for more violence and profanity, an issue because the studio envisioned Snakes as a campy PG-13 action movie. Eventually, they agreed with his more adult-oriented take, and he agreed to reshoots to secure an R rating, which just served to make the edited TV version all the more ridiculous.
I have had it with these monkey-fighting snakes on this Monday to Friday plane!
The Avengers. In the original script for The Avengers, the scene immediately following the near defeat of the Chitauri was much less lighthearted. After sending the bomb through the wormhole and falling back to Earth, Tony Stark simply asked, "What's next?" after being roused by his comrades. Robert Downey Jr. felt this line fell a little flat and suggested trying something different. According to Entertainment Weekly, director Joss Whedon put together 3 pages of new lines based on Downey's suggestions. In the newly revamped scene, Iron Man has a little more banter with his teammates.
You ever tried shawarma? There's a shawarma joint about 2 blocks from here. I don't know what it is, but I want to try it.
Everyone liked the line so much that Whedon filmed a bonus post-credits scene of the entire cast eating. But since production had already wrapped, he had to film the scene when the cast came back together for the premiere. According to EW, Chris Evans even had to wear a fake jaw prosthetic to hide the beard he'd grown. That's why Captain America isn't eating with the rest of the team. And it was all because Robert Downey Jr. wanted to spice up his lines. Jurassic World. Critics were pretty happy with Jurassic World, but that didn't stop audiences from complaining that Bryce Dallas Howard's character somehow outruns 22 tons of T-Rex in high heels. Director Colin Trevorrow was completely aware of how ridiculous this was and reportedly spent much of the film's production trying to convince her to literally slip into something more comfortable. Howard refused, insisting that her character had to wear heels the whole time.
We'll fight them.
You'll last 2 minutes in there. Less in those ridiculous shoes.
Trevorrow would later admit that he wasn't exactly sure why Howard was so insistent, but he respected her decision and the heels stayed in. Howard herself would later say she never expected wearing the heels to be such a major talking point, but she was happy to have the effort she put into running through the jungle acknowledged, noting that no camera trickery was used. She really did wear the shoes in every scene. Clash of the Titans. Bubo the Clockwork Owl is one of the most memorable parts of the original Clash of the Titans, so naturally, director Louis Leterrier planned on making it a major part of his 2010 remake. Unfortunately, Sam Worthington hated Bubo. Leterrier later recounted that Worthington complained about the owl at every opportunity, going as far as to accuse the director of trying to ruin his career by making him star opposite something so ridiculous. Leterrier goaded Worthington by saying he wasn't trying to ruin his career, just damage it, which didn't exactly help matters. Ultimately, to appease his star, Leterrier took the owl out of the film, relegating it to a brief cameo. Shrek. Shrek's signature Scottish accent went through a couple of major changes before audiences fell in love with the big green ogre. Saturday Night Live vet Chris Farley was originally supposed to voice the character, but passed away before he could finish recording his lines. After his passing, Mike Myers stepped in. It wasn't until after roughly a third of the movie had been animated, however, that Myers decided Shrek should be Scottish. Myers' reasoning was that since the movie's villain, Lord Farquaad, spoke with an upper-class English accent, Shrek should sound more blue-collar to highlight the difference between them.
Ugh, it's hideous!
Oh, that's not very nice. It's just a donkey.
He also felt that the Scottish accent lent itself better to dramatic, abrupt shifts in tone and would allow him to emote in a more exaggerated fashion. DreamWorks exec Jeffrey Katzenberg pegged the cost of reworking the already animated scenes at $4 to $5 million, roughly 10% of the movie's overall budget. Star Wars: Attack of the Clones. After watching a rough cut of the battle for Geonosis with Star Wars creator George Lucas, Samuel L. Jackson noticed that it was hard to spot his own character, Mace Windu, amongst the dozens of Jedi on screen. He asked Lucas if it'd be possible for Windu to wield a purple lightsaber, partly because it'd stand out more, and partly because purple is Jackson's favorite color.
So I said to George, you think maybe I can get a purple lightsaber? And he's like, lightsabers are green or lightsabers are red. And I'm like, yeah, but I want a purple one.
Lucas initially turned down the request, but later decided to let Jackson get his purple lightsaber. Because when Samuel L. Jackson asks for something, he gets it.
I have the real one at home that has bad right here.
Are you serious?
Yeah!
A Million Ways to Die in the West. Family Guy has mocked a lot of people over the years, but one joke in particular came back to haunt creator Seth MacFarlane. Family Guy made a joke about how Liam Neeson would never be able to play a cowboy in a Western because of his inability to convincingly mask his distinctive Irish accent.
This glen's gonna be tough to traverse, and that river's gotta be 50, 60 meters wide, and God knows how many fathoms.
Years later, when MacFarlane asked Liam Neeson to star in his comedy western A Million Ways to Die in the West, Neeson said he'd do it with one condition.
When Seth called me up to ask would I do this film, I said I'll do it on condition that I can use my own Irish accent.
MacFarlane agreed, and Neeson's character became an inexplicably Irish cowboy, all because of a throwaway line in an old episode of Family Guy suggesting that it'd be pretty stupid for anyone to hire Liam Neeson to star in a western.
You really do have a death wish, don't you?
Thanks for watching. Click the looper icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel, plus check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.